Have you ever realized 30 minutes into watching a movie that you don't enjoy it, but continue to watch it anyway? This is because of the sunk cost fallacy. We continue wasting our time on a boring movie since we have already invested 30 minutes of our time into it. The sunk cost fallacy describes our tendency to continue to pursue an endeavor that we have already committed to, in terms of investing money, time, or effort into it, even if those costs are not recoverable. The sunk cost fallacy occurs because our emotions often cause us to deviate from rational decisions. Abandoning an endeavor after committing to it and investing resources into it is likely to cause negative feelings of guilt and wastefulness. Since we want to avoid negative feelings of loss, we are likely to follow through on a decision that we have invested in even if it is not in our best interest. There are examples of sunk cost fallacy in all areas of our lives. One of the most significant examples of sunk cost fallacy in our personal lives is when we stay in relationships for too long. This can be both romantic and platonic relationships. Some couples stay together when they would be better apart. They remain in an unhappy relationship because they have already invested many years of their lives. Here are 5 tips on avoiding falling victim to a sunk cost fallacy. 1. Understand impermanence. Nothing lasts forever. Once we understand this, we can learn to untangle our attachments to things. When we recognize the impermanence of everything around us, we know to place less weight on time and money already invested. People come, and people go. The same goes for projects, money, and business. No matter what we do, nothing stays the same. When we lean into impermanence, we don't attach our happiness onto something staying the same. This notion teaches us to embrace change and stop resisting it. In turn, it will help us to be more resistant to the sunk cost fallacy. 2. Look at things with fresh eyes. Sometimes, all we need is a fresh pair of eyes. We discern our situation based on its history. But would we make the same judgments if we didn't know the history? Try to look at something in your life at face value. Disregard what has gone before. The likelihood is you will see things differently. All it takes is for us to wake up and see things in a new light. The key is to stay curious. Our curiosity helps us see things from different perspectives. 3. Get a different opinion. Sometimes we can't see the wood for the trees. This is precisely why it can be helpful to seek the opinion of another. They bring an objective viewpoint to the table. This objectivity means any time, energy, or money already invested is not front and center. Asking for the opinion of someone else can look like many different things. Seeking advice from a trusted friend. Recruiting a business mentor. Requesting a performance or business review. Enlisting a therapist. And here is the crucial thing. We don't have to agree with the opinion of another. But sometimes, just hearing different perspectives and ideas is enough to break us out of our sunk cost fallacy. Point 4. Work on decision-making skills. The sunk cost fallacy means that we are making decisions that are irrational and lead to suboptimal outcomes. We will become less susceptible to the sunk cost fallacy by working on our decision-making skills. By its very nature, the sunk cost fallacy has sufferers believing they have limited options. They feel a sense of entrapment, and that forward is the only direction. Influential decision-makers analyze a situation and weigh all the options available. This critical thinking helps us avoid being stung by the sunk cost fallacy. 5. Improve your self-talk. Listen to this story. I didn't wrap up my business sooner for fear of being seen as a failure. While I considered what I had already invested, I also suffered from negative self-talk telling me I would be a failure if I gave up. And I'm not a quitter, so I had to prove that inner voice wrong. I berated myself for even thinking about giving up. I chastised myself for being unable to find a creative way to turn the business around. And so I kept plugging because if I stopped, I would have failed. Remember, I'm not a quitter. But the reality is my perseverance was futile. Be aware of your self-talk. Don't let it bully you into pursuing something that you may even know in your heart is beyond repair. Knowing when to stop is as important as knowing when to start. We just need to train our inner voices on that notion. Endlessly hammering away at a project is not always healthy. Hard work does not always pay off. We need to learn when to call it quits. Learning when a project or a relationship is no longer beneficial takes wisdom. Sometimes even the smartest of us are affected by the sunk cost fallacy. Comment us. When was the last time you fell victim to the sunk cost fallacy? Did you overcome it or ended up in a worse position? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below.